We chilling a bit, love.
And the mic headphones are on. Everybody's good.
Yeah,
You can hear us.
hearing heavy
Could you
fondlage
hear
from
me?
the microphone.
Heavy what?
Heavy what?
Heavy fondlage of the microphone.
That's Gooch is fixing
You should have
things.
done this before you went live.
I said I was going live.
I didn't know that there was a thing.
Oh, I'm gonna close the door.
As you walk away with the mic, it's nice.
You got the mics.
Nice feeling. This is why you can do that.
I was still on camera the whole time.
Maybe. Quite frankly. All right. A little rundown ski. Good morning, whoever's here early for the new, once again, another set
I
change.
think this is the one though.
What's the one?
This is the set.
This is it?
Yeah, this is gonna be the one for.
You just got to light it better.
Adjustments.
Yeah.
but I think this is the set.
Okay. I'm with it.
AJ, was that too quiet on me? Was I too far from the mic?
No, I don't think so.
I think you're
Okay.
good. That mic picks up a lot.
Okay, good.
All right. What up, Ash?
Yeah, it was picking up Tommy's breathing, heavy breathing. yesterday.
What, dude? You know why he was breathing heavy? Because he restricted his own air based off the shirt he was wearing.
Also, I got a shtick that I'm gonna do
Uh-huh.
regarding last night's podcast. Just roll with it. You'll find out when I do it.
Okie
It's not
dokie.
really a shtick that you might be thinking. It's not a bit.
It's not a bit. All right.
So,
All right, AJ.
go there.
Let's get this show on the Rizzo.
All right, we're kicking it off in 3, 2, 1.
This is a gorgeous. Look at you, just casually enjoying life.
I hope that I don't have like a weird nut bulge.
I mean, I would hope
going
not
on.
either. Welcome everybody to the Chop Sports Show here on Monday, August the 30th, 2021. We hope you guys are doing well. We hope you guys had a great weekend. New set change, obviously, again. This is basically what we're going to be looking at for a Sunday stream, where it's going to be cameras on each individual person that's, running the show, and then you got the wide shot up there, and it's just, it's a whole new thing,
4 NFL tickets.
For NFL. Oh, yeah. The NFL streams are going to be crazy. We have yours and obviously Kyle Kerms, the Sauce, will be coming in, helping us out as well.
Yeah, we tested out the new equipment in the live stream yesterday. Thanks to everybody that tuned in to the live stream for the Jake Paul,
What?
Tyron Woodley debacle. That
What?
was
What?
brutal.
What? There was a live stream?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
thanks to everybody that tuned into the live stream. It was great. I was, especially Hawaii Mike, all over the
All the way in Hawaii. Yeah. So last night, before we get started, it is Sturch, it is Gooch on the couch, and it's AJ behind the glass, behind the scenes back there. That's a good thing. Whoever just said you can't see our faces, it's definitely a good thing on this Monday morning, because I am dragging ass because of that fight last night. Like, that wasn't even. Oh man, it's like,
bro, and
it's got to stop. It's got to stop.
You got to leave, and then we had to record a 15-minute impromptu episode for the Chop Heads MMA podcast after our fucking 1.5 hour live.
I actually, it's funny.
Why
I
you
was-
keep laughing at that?
I don't know, man. It's just, it's
Not
funny.
that funny.
It's
There were
funny.
Only 3 people tuned in because it was Sunday night at fucking midnight.
People
So
have to go to
who
work.
actually
People got to go to
cares?
work. No, but I will say this. When I was walking out, I heard Tommy like, all right, let's do this. And I was like, oh, I don't feel
It's rough.
good for them at all. That sucks. But no, the Woodley thing, that fight, it needs to, that kind of shtick, it's actually getting kind of tired. I don't know. After that fight, the post fight, and obviously if you watch the fight, you saw that Jake Paul won by decision, which was the big money, plus 900 to did you do it, AJ?
No, I wish I had the balls to do it. But
Okay, well, Scoop apparently did. He told us he went, whatchamacall, he took that money, and yeah, well, it's just a long night, man. I almost drifted off 3 times driving home. Like, that's and I wasn't even drinking. There was a cop sitting outside, and I was like, he's gonna see me peel out of here.
You wasn't even drinking, ladies and gentlemen.
I wasn't even drinking, and like, I didn't have any drinks at my draft that I hosted yesterday, so I was sober as a whistle. And Yeah, it was just rough. But anyway, so what's this guy? All right, you know what?
Reading the comments?
Yeah, I'm reading the comments, and I'm just like, this is why I need to get rid of the comments because it's annoying. But AJ's controlling all that.
Should
So if
make the
AJ wants
close-ups
to,
the main screen.
I mean, yeah, we're getting chirped about the angle big time.
well, you know what?
Well, we can-
Chirp
we can
away.
Switch it up however.
Yeah, AJ
wants.
is controlling this bad boy. So this is all up to AJ on who he wants to bring up.
AJ, whoever's talking, go to their face if you can.
Yeah, well, you don't have to do that. That's a lot of
these
switching.
people have
That's a lot of
face,
switching.
Jason Devlin, yeah.
Oh, that was Devlin. Well, it is what
It's
it is.
Devlin and Ash and probably.
It's fine.
Jimmy.
But anyway, so this fight, this shtick that I think it's growing tired. I truly do. I don't firmly believe that this is the kind of thing that will last a lot longer. I know these celebrity fights are, you know, I call them celebrity fights, even though they're actual fighters now doing this. You know what I mean? But this kind of fight, it's getting old, and I think you heard it in the post fight interview with Jake Paul. Like he almost didn't have anything to say because it's just like like they went through the motions. Like Woodley caught him a couple times, which is great. We thought he was going to knock him through the ropes. It was one of the greater moments of the fight, probably the only big moment of the fight, which we propped up for. You're like, oh, there it is, and it never happened. It never happened. And it's like, I don't know, man. This Jake Paul shit's getting annoying.
The Jake Paul shit's been annoying, but obviously, you know me, I'm here for it. I don't mind the Jake Paul shit. He came out, he won the fight. Woodley didn't fire off again. The last 4 UFC fights that Woodley fought in, Woodley doesn't move the needle anymore. I was team Woodley going into this, but seeing him the way he came out, he didn't throw a punch for 4 rounds. He landed 1 punch.
That's like his last 4 fights.
And to the point about Jake Paul afterwards, he didn't want to fight. He's talking about he might take some time off. He's been training for 3 years.
Oh,
and he said
yeah.
18 months, so he can't do math. Talking about he needs to get his nose fixed, his teeth fixed. I mean, come on, bro. You've been sparring. It's not like he's got. They call him 4 pro fights. He's got 0 pro fights.
0. Zilch.
There was no CompuBox scorecard. They made an announcement midway through the fight.
Oh, that was hilarious.
That the judges are very inexperienced.
Isn't that
so they're
crazy?
basically telling you, like, this is a wash. This is in Cleveland. There's going to be home cooking. But just looking at the fight, they didn't even need to have home cooking because Woodley didn't do shit.
That's like his last 4 fights in MMA. Like he's not an entertaining fighter. Woodley has lost a bunch of fights by being the most boring, even in his wins, bro. Even in some of his wins, they were the most boring fights I've ever watched. And what did you actually expect him to do when he can't take anybody down and he can't use his mixed martial arts skills? He just has to go punch for punch with Jake Paul. And you know what? I'm pretty sure he was nervous to get too close because Jake Paul does have that kind of power.
Honestly, I think that there was a little too much made about the Jake Paul power. He looked like he was thrown. Maybe for a round he had some snap, but he gassed out immediately.
You saw it. The hands were down.
I wouldn't say it was more so the power. I think it was more just his fear of possibly losing. He was afraid to.
That's
get
what
in
I'm
there
saying.
and
He didn't
mix
want
it
to
up.
get embarrassed. You trying to embarrass me on national TV? Like that was rough, dude.
And
rough.
I don't want to see them fight again. So you could scratch.
Yeah, so AJ, did you pull up that clip or no?
No, it's hard to get clips in the StreamYard, but
No worries. It's okay. The post fight interview, they were talking about running it back, and I just like, please don't. Please don't, because we know
if Woodley gets the
all right, you know what? Enough. Like,
then they're supposedly going to run it back.
did you also notice that in the post fight interview, there was moments where they were all humble.
Is it the part where Jake Paul finally got to grip Woodley's cheeks?
Yes, it was all humble, right? It was just, hey, he's a tremendous competitor and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, all right, cool. He's acknowledging that Woodley has a past and a history in the sport. And all of a sudden it was like somebody whispered in Jake Paul's ear, hey, you forgot to promote the rematch. Do it again. Run that back. Hurry up. Do it again. I'm like, wait a minute. Timeout. So now out of nowhere, this is what happens. Then they turn it up like, oh, you're a scumbag. Oh, I'm like, wait a minute. Timeout.
I think they expected to have a gracious Woodley in defeat, and Woodley came up hot. He came over there talking about a rematch. So then obviously Jake Paul had to change his tune a little bit.
What would be like, what's to stop Woodley from just clocking him bare knuckle? Just that would make headlines. That would sell the next fight. That would he would go to, that's assault in I guess a little bit, right?
That's why, because you can't just punch somebody.
Yeah, I know, but it would have been so good. Oh my God.
That becomes assault. So yeah, that's the reason why.
It would have been it would have been awesome.
But
awesome.
so your take on the whole thing now
I'm
that you watched it, just let me.
Yeah.
Was it fake or was it real? Did they actually fight each other, or was that
all right. So here's my take, and this is straight, like, this is how I see it, because the fact it went 8 rounds, right, and it was home cooking. Don't you think these guys know the gambling odds of this stuff? Don't you think they know that? Oh, why? For whatever reason, the highest payout was Jake Paul by decision, and all of a sudden, what's the result? Jake Paul by decision. That's what has me sketchy. There was punch power. There was knockoutable power. That's not even a thing. There was knockout power delivered a couple times, but not enough for me to think that somebody was going to get knocked out in this fight. So everybody who bet that way cashed in tremendously.
agreed? So there is that.
Sketchy.
I still, just judging by the way the guys looked with the adrenaline going and the facial expressions and the body language, I think both guys were trying to win. Personally,
I don't know, man. I feel like there was just like survival mode the entire way. They were tired. They were both tired.
All right. So when Woodley landed that shot to the side of the head, and he knocked Jake Paul down, like without the ropes, that's a knockdown. In real boxing, that's 100% a knockdown.
Would that be like a standing 8 count?
No, it would. A standing 8 count is basically. All right, let's run it back. It wouldn't be a standing 8 count. It would be a knockdown, and they would start counting. And then you take your standing 8 count, meaning like you could stand up and get to 8, let them know you're good.
Okay.
But no, that wouldn't be a standing 8 count. It would have been a clean knockdown, and you would have finally got a 10-8 round. In boxing, you need to have a knockdown to get a 10-8 round. A lot of people, I'm talking to AJ on the way in this morning, and he basically is the new age combat sports fan where he only knows MMA judging. He doesn't even know boxing judging. He's like, so.
Well, that's another thing. The scores from these quote inexperienced judges for what they said that they were. It was 78-76 or 77-75 one way, same score the other way, and then a 4-point spread for Jake Paul. The entire fight, we watched it here at the studio last night.
I think Woodley won 2 rounds.
Well, if that's the case, whatever the case may be, I'm saying, do you think that, like, it's weird for me to think that this wasn't a fixed thing, because it's like you have, like, that fight was the entire way. The aggressor was, as much as he didn't throw punches, he was the one pressing forward. It was never Jake Paul like, oh, I'm coming for you, bro. Like, it was never that. It was never that.
Yeah, he walked forward and didn't throw punches, though.
But that's
I still haven't seen the numbers, so I would like to see what the numbers are.
As far as what?
As far
Punches
as, like,
landed and stuff?
They didn't do CompuBox because it wasn't a actual sanctioned bout.
Which is
there
ridiculous.
was no drug testing, things like that, so it wasn't a pro fight. But until I see the numbers, I'm just the optics of it. I think Woodley won 2 rounds, so I had it 78-74 as well.
I don't know. I just, to me, the fact that the big plus money was that way, and that's how the frigging cookie crumbled. Like, come on, man.
I'm surprised nobody's in here talking shit that we're even talking about it.
But in any event, I know there's a lot of people out there that feel the same way I do, where, like, you know, I was talking to my brother about it, and it's like, this is the disgrace that is. Like, this is not boxing. Boxing is your Tysons and like that, the classic stuff. And even the guys that are going now, like, you know, Canelo, and then, you know, the guy that's undefeated from Brooklyn. I keep forgetting his name. But
Lopez?
Sure, him, yeah. But I'm like, there are good boxers out there. The sport is, I said it, as far as the casual fan, there's not much left. There's not much left, but as like the hardcore fan, you would hope that there's a lot left in the tank for a lot of these up and comers. But when you're featuring Jake Paul and you're featuring Tyron Woodley, like this isn't boxing.
Yeah, but
this is a circus.
But that's the thing; it's not boxing.
It's money.
It's money. It's not boxing. It's not the WBO, the WBC. They're not. This guy's not injected into the rankings. It's a money fight. If anybody fights him, it's for money. Well, like I said, there was no sanctioning body. There was no drug testing. There was no CompuBox. There was no professional judging. Who was the ref?
Isn't that the guy with the big eyes? The guy that's like that in all the memes, like he's always like big eyed, like really excited about shit. Wasn't that him?
No, he was just the ring guy. He was like the cut man, one of the cut men.
You sure?
Yeah.
I thought
I
the
don't even
referee.
know who the ref is. So
I thought the referee
maybe,
for sure was excited.
I'm wrong. But anyway,
any event.
I just got an update about the Ravens running back situation, so I guess that's the perfect segue into the NFL and J.K. Dobbins.
you know what? I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to say it, and I don't want to offend one individual person, but this is why, my heart is broken for J.K. Dobbins, because that guy was going to be RB1 in Baltimore because of the departure of Ingram. This is why you don't have drafts early in the year. This is why you don't do that. This is why you don't have keeper leagues and all this other shit where, like, we would have been screwed. Would have been absolutely screwed, because now it's hard for me to. Yes. Do I watch preseason games? Yes. I'm a diehard Dallas Cowboy fan, so that's the kind of shit I want to see.
This is Dave's come to Jesus moment.
But I want listen here. Here's my status on preseason football.
Pointless.
Now I want to see the camp battles. I want to see the position battles. I want to see which edge rusher Dallas might keep, or which interior lineman they might keep, or who the backup quarterback is going to be behind our guy Dak Prescott. But this is the flip side of things, where things can get ugly really fast. And I think all of those decisions, all of those things I just mentioned, the battles for positions, they can be addressed in training camp and not preseason games. Because we lost 3 running backs over the course of the last 2 weeks, 3 starting running backs. This is people are like, oh, look at the courage. Like, Tom Brady is playing in the third preseason game. Oh, look, Daniel Jones took a couple reps. He threw a pick, but then he was getting rocked. I don't know if you saw any of those highlights, but Daniel Jones was on the freaking carpet every other play.
Yeah, it's still football. You're going to get hit.
It's still football.
You don't get to wear the red jersey.
People are like, oh, but what about Dak Prescott? How come he hasn't taken any reps? I was on team take reps. I was, because when you're coming off an ankle injury and you've had no opponent since injury, you got to get out there. You got to get game speed. You have to. But now we're seeing too many of these guys drop. J.K. Dobbins won. Who else?
Travis
Etienne went out, and the kid from L.A. from the Rams, Cam Akers out.
I don't think he was hurt in a preseason.
It doesn't matter in that time frame. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is. These guys are professionals.
Funchess is out for the year, but that was in an inter-squad scrimmage.
Right. These guys are professionals. I think they can just get their bodies right. Like, versus Zeke not to have any reps, I was okay with that. He looks phenomenal.
Now, not a great example overall, but in the one season where Le'Veon Bell held out all year, he came back and I think he led the league in rushing. Right? He held out. He didn't practice once all off season. He came back the week of week 1 and he led the NFL in rushing. These guys are pros, man. You don't really. I could understand maybe if you have a quarterback competition, you might want to see them out there, but other than that, I just don't see the reasoning behind it. And my stance on this. I'm
starting to fade that way. I'm starting to fade that way because I'm just like, all right, what's the next injury that's going to happen? Or you're going to be like, oh my God, if there was no preseason.
It's going to take one of your guys to get hurt, and then you'll be done with it forever. Once Jordy tore his ACL, that was it for me. I'm done with preseason.
Yeah. I mean, look, Dak got hurt against the Giants, and that was it for me for the season. That was a regular season game. So, like, yeah, if we were to lose one of our big starters, I would have lost my mind. I would have lost my goddamn mind. But I think, and it's funny because he ain't the only one banged up. The running backs, yeah, they're taking hits, but the Colts, they're trying to figure things out with Carson Wentz. Is he going to play, right? And now he doesn't have his wide receiver. I don't want to say one because I don't feel like he's a one anyway. But like T.Y. Hilton's hurt. He's banged up now. So these guys are losing people. Like Dallas lost their starting defensive tackle for 6 weeks. So this is the kind of shit that you have to deal with. Like, if you're going to get hurt, have it, and I have a perfect example. And this is going to sound bad. Not that bad, but in 2014, I tore my ACL in a professional wrestling ring as an active professional wrestler. You know where I did it? Practice. I would have much rather got hurt in front of the crowd and then got the standing ovation as I'm carted off or whatever, but I did it in practice in front of the fellow students and trainers. And it was embarrassing. Practice. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the kind of shit you got to deal with is practice. And I don't know, man. It's annoying. It's just, the whole thing is annoying. The injuries are annoying, especially if it's your team. And I don't know, man.
So where do you bump Gus Edwards up in the fantasy rankings? AJ, you could take this one. Where do you think Gus Edwards needs to go now?
So this may sound absolutely crazy, but I think he's basically interchangeable with J.K. Dobbins' value. I would take him a little lower because I think that based off the name brand, a lot of people aren't going to be buying into him as high as a early 3rd round pick. But if you could get him in the 4th round, I'll take that every single time.
I think he went in the 4th in my draft yesterday.
I say well said, but I'm not touching him until the 5th. So I get it. I'm not taking him anywhere near the 3rd round. 4th round.
He said
depending-
interchangeable because he thinks that the skill set might be the same.
skill
And I
set-
kind of
I think Dobbins is a better
there's not
receiver,
enough sample
even though
size
they
out of
didn't
Gus
use
Edwards.
Dobbins last year out of the backfield catching the ball. They didn't really use the backfield at all, throwing to the backfield. But Gus Edwards will not. He might have 1 catch all year. They don't throw to him at all.
So what's the move? You think it's Gus Edwards, or you think that the Ravens kind of pull a rabbit out of the
No,
hat?
It'll be Gus Edwards for on 1st and 2nd down, and on 3rd down they'll piece it together.
Justice Hill is hurt. He was back. You know what I said? Since we did not cover did we cover the Gardner Minshew trade when it happened?
No.
No.
We did not. So Gardner Minshew gets traded for a bag of balls, so I feel like the price tags for some of these players, they're not that heavy. So why not the Ravens go out there and say, look, hey, Houston, we'll give you a 4th and a 5th or a 4th and a 6th. Can you give us Mark Ingram back? Because he's not going to really serve a purpose down there.
Why would they do that?
Why would they not?
Because they released him for a reason.
They released him because they had J.K. Dobbins on the rise.
I don't know.
That's why.
I think that kicking the tires on a guy like Ingram isn't going to do much.
I'm just saying he knows the system.
I think-
I'm just
Well, I just got an update saying that they're not in on Todd Gurley. I think Gurley is probably a little bit better off than Ingram at this point in their career.
I think that might be it for Gurley then.
Well,
If that guy didn't find a roster, what's the deal?
and there's a lot of young up and coming guys. I guarantee there's a couple guys out there that could fill that role if need be. He's got to find them.
I guess, but
When
hey,
final cuts go down, we'll see what running backs
and that's
become available.
that's another thing we need to be AJ just like on the horn, because it is fine. They have till 4:00 tomorrow afternoon Eastern time to get your rosters down to 53 men. So right now the Dallas, like for instance, and not every roster is the same, but Dallas is at like 78. It's a lot of guys to cut, and of course there's going to be corresponding moves where it's like, putting guys on the IR, putting guys, there might be a couple trades. There's already talks that people are interested in some of our backups, and it's all about if you want to part ways with these guys. I personally don't, but I just, if you can get something for them, I'm not talking about something, I'm talking about something good, not just like, hey, give up all your backups for 5th rounders, give me something good. If you're coveting this guy, you better be worth it.
So what's your thoughts on the Minshew trade?
This is another kick to the ego dick of Jalen Hurts.
I knew. I almost.
I said it in the group
because I knew you were going to say that.
I said it in the
'cause
group.
I read it in the group.
I know, but look, here's the story of Jalen Hurts thus far with the Eagles. Okay, he gets the starting job because Wentz starts to stink, right? And after that, he's the starter. So we'll go with that. Then after that, he's the offseason comes. And you go out and there's rumors now, not anything with any merit, but some rumors that Deshaun Watson could be the guy, right? Hey, they could trade for Deshaun Watson. Insert Hurts feelings there. Like, oh man, Jesus, why would they even talk about this, right? And then you sign Joe Flacco as your backup. And I'm not saying Joe Flacco can start in this league anymore. He probably can if asked up to do it. Another one, Hurts is like, wait a minute, damn, dude, like, yo, I'm the starter. I'm the guy. I want to be the guy, right? So then that debacle is kind of put aside because Jalen Hurts is definitely better than Joe Flacco right now, right? And then you trade for Gardner Minshew. This is another blow to Jalen Hurts.
I think if anything, it's a blow to Joe Flacco, and it might be that they don't believe in him as the backup. There's potential that they don't believe in Hurts as the guy, but I don't think Minshew is the answer. And if you look at the stipulation in the trade, I think it's for a 6th, but
it could turn
move
into a
to
5th
if he plays in 50% of the snaps in 3 games. So I don't think they plan on using Minshew much.
He's not a gadget guy. He's a quarterback.
And the thing with Philly is, I think for whatever reason in Philly, they think that they have a chance to win some games. Maybe it's because the division was bad last year, but I don't think that the overall feeling in Philly right now is that they think that they're as bad as the public does. So if Hurts does get hurt,
Yeah.
it always fucks me up saying if Hurts gets hurt. But anyway, if Hurts does go down, they would like to have somebody to bridge the gap. Minshew is definitely a solid backup. I don't think that he's a starter in the league, though. It was proven. He won 1 game with Jacksonville last
It
year.
was a bad team.
Still,
I'm just saying.
he's
a bad
more
team.
of he's like a Doug Flutie light. He's like not as good as Doug Flutie, but he's never going to get
Doug
the
light. I
full
like
job
that.
anywhere he goes.
Right.
But Minshew will be he'll be a 10-year mainstay in the league at least, as long as he plays backup quarterback. And I don't know. I think the contract was a little high for a backup.
$2 million.
It was only $2 million. I think I
Mhm.
was proven wrong by this is one of the things that I was proven wrong on. But They just announced Trevor Lawrence.
One of the things.
One of the
just
things.
one.
No, it's one of the things that AJ always does. He always pulls up shit like real time when he doesn't believe what I'm saying is true.
That can't be true.
But yeah, this is one of those things. Trevor Lawrence is gone. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is the starter. There's no reason to keep Minshew around at $2 million for a team that if Trevor Lawrence goes down, what are they going to win? One game?
All
There's
I
no
know is
point.
Trevor Lawrence dropped a couple dimes on my backup secondary yesterday. I watched that game full. Kick off to the last kneel down. Trevor Lawrence, like I know it was backups, and I know, but some of the kids that the Cowboys are throwing out there for the entire game. Trevor Lawrence looks like he could drop a couple dimes, and look, he's being the highest touted quarterback since Andrew Luck.
Yeah,
So
he's legit.
he's legit, and I think
just don't believe in Urban Meyer. He's going to be their Achilles heel. He'll quit
it's
by like
interesting.
week 10.
It's interesting to see what Urban Meyer does with this team because they're not in they're not in win now mode by any stretch, but they have a decent team. Even with the loss of Travis Etienne, I think that James Robinson definitely is more than capable of carrying the load over there. They did it last year, so I definitely think he's good. And I think his receivers, as much as people talk about DJ Chark and Chenault, I love the acquisition of Marvin Jones. You know what I mean? So he's got a safety net. Like I feel like that's going to be the guy that leads the team in receptions.
I think we gave Jaguars the most wins any one of us gave them was like 4 or 5.
I'm not saying they're going to
Does
be
that change
good.
now that we see a little bit more out of Trevor Lawrence?
No.
I'll give
No, I
all right.
agree. No, it doesn't.
I mean, we're
The
going to
defense
do
is bad.
We're going to do next week. We're going to sit down, take an hour out of our day and really go week by week to really get good predictions. I think Trevor Lawrence can win games in this league. I truly believe that. And I think that it's going to show, and it's going to show early. Maybe not often, but early. But anyway, AJ, what is this Mets thing you got written down? Oh, all right. Well, the Mets, being the Mets, have Metsed it up again. And when I say that, I think that, first of all, you're biters. They're all biters, right?
Well, first of all, the Yankees did that, and it was a Mets fan that put the thumbs down. So it's just a very Mets thing to even steal the Yankees' thumbs down, and it's even worse.
But it's in different contexts.
But it's even worse when the Yankees developed that moniker against the Mets because of that Mets fan
Mhm.
in the crowd.
Yeah, I remember.
And now the Mets are going against their own fan base in the most Mets thing of all, and it doesn't even make sense.
I can't believe the way they described it. Like Javi Baez said, he doesn't like when they get booed, right? So now he wants to treat the fans like they treated him.
First of all,
Like,
isn't
are you
Javi
kidding?
Ba-
You've
he's
been there for 5 minutes.
Yeah, he's been there for a week, bro.
Yeah, like first of all, this is not the time to turn on your fan base when you're down 8 games as of today, 8 games to the Braves, and we're 2 days away from September. This ship has sailed. I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. There won't be any run
And when
for
you
the New York Mets.
when you lose 8 out of 10,
Correct.
you don't get the boo back when
Right.
you win. When you win the fucking the
guy-
third game in a month.
The guy called the radio today, bro. It was so funny, actually. The guy called the radio and he goes, I just bought season tickets for the Mets. They actually just upped their prices for next year. He goes, so not only are the Mets upping their prices, and I have to deal with that, like that hike. He goes, you're telling me I got to get booed by Lindor for the rest of the time? Like for the next 10 years, he's got to get
That's
booed
perfect.
by Francisco Lindor. And everybody started laughing. I was like, that's hilarious because the Mets have to stop where they're like right dead in their tracks. It's over. They're 8 games back. There's no promise that they're going to like the Braves would have to completely collapse to not win the NL East. So that's the ship of sail, man. Just get your stats, pad your stats, have a good couple rest of the weeks, but it's over. The Mets are over. And this, the whole, that's it. That's symbolic for being over, bro. It's so over. I mean, they probably don't even know how over it is.
No, they know.
And they probably know.
Yeah, there's no shot.
So anyway, AJ, my guy, it's time now to get into what went down on a Sunday docket for the MLB, bro.
It's time, you say. Well, it's also time to bring up my guy, Curtis Counts. We are here with the Curtis L. House's sports update for all your realty needs. Make sure to hit up Curtis. Let's get into the first game where the Mets went against the Nationals. They were booing their fans. The fans were booing them.
So they booed each other, and they won the game.
Yeah,
like,
and
what are they booing?
Somehow they won this game 9-4.
Jesus.
Yeah, and Miguel gets the win in that one. The A's went against the Yankees yesterday, and the A's get a win late in that game. Kemp hits a home run in the 8th to lift them over the Yanks 3-1. Phillies get a nice win over the Diamondbacks at home, 7-4. Suarez gets the win in that one. We have the Giants going against the Atlanta Braves for an absolute eyewear shutout as my guy Ian Anderson shuts out the Braves 9-0. The White Sox and the Cubs went at it for a Chicago crosstown rivalry, but the White Sox, as usual, beat up on the Cubs 13-1. The Brewers and the Twins went at it yesterday for some interconference play, but the Brewers ultimately came away victorious on the road 6-2. The Rangers get a surprising upset over the Houston Astros at home 13-2. They blow the brakes off of them. Tampa Bay Rays and the Orioles go at it in a high-scoring affair, and the Tampa Bay Rays ultimately come away victorious 12-8. Red Sox and the Indians go at it in Cleveland yesterday, but the Cleveland Indians are surprisingly able to get an upset 7-5 in that one. Marlins get an upset over the National League wildcard climbing Reds as they win that game 2-1. There's going to be a note on that one after the report. The Blue Jays win a close one against the Tigers 2-1. They get 10 hits in that one, but only registered 2 runs. Rockies, LA Dodgers, absolute eyewear shutout, shocking one as the Rockies shut out the Dodgers at home 5-0 Rockies. And then to end today's slate, the Seattle Mariners get a nice victory over the Kansas City Royals 4-3, only 5 hits, but they get it done anyways. That is your AJ Sports update.
Gooch, you got any notes? I got one. Do you have any? And it wasn't the 0 when I looked at you. You locked eyes. And I'm like, he said 0 again, but that's okay.
I was reading text.
Okay,
shit,
well,
so.
mine is it's beat the brakes off a team, not blow the brakes off a team. That's just me. Just, little things. Like he's like, what is Demolition Man? She's like, let's go out there and blow these guys. And like Stallone's like, away. Blow these guys away.
He's doing Joe Matarese.
Oh, that's right. Rocky's his role model, right? And you can find that shirt on chopsports.shop. But anyway, today we are on day 22 of the Carolina of the 32 teams in 32 days. We're going to take a break first. When we come back, we'll do the Carolina Panthers. First, we'll sell some merch, pay some bills, and we'll get right back to you guys. Coming right back. All right, welcome back to the Chop Sports Show here on August the 30th, 2021. Of course, your host, Sturch and Gooch, and of course, AJ behind the glass. A lot of comments about the new set. We're working on it, folks. That's all I'm saying. We were working on it. We're going to get the lighting down. There's so many things we want to do, and obviously the Sunday ticket thing, that Sunday show, that nameless Sunday show is going to be, that's where we're trying to work towards. We still got, 2 weeks, right?
No, like
less than 2 weeks now, 13 days away from that Sunday show.
Which is so fucking amazing.
It really
Football
is, bro. You don't understand.
Here.
When I had my draft yesterday at my house, there was so many guys that were there. They were like, I can't wait to just watch football again. Meaningful football. Football is the lifeblood of not only this network, but like
we
just
get an
life.
appetizer with college football this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And then what we're all here for.
We're appetizer on Thursday. As of right now, it's calling for a fat 100% chance of rain. We did plan on doing some tailgating, some marketing on Thursday, but if it's crappy, I don't know. I don't know how that's going to go, but I definitely still want to go to the game at the very least. So Rutgers opens their season on Thursday. All right, so day 22 of the 32 teams in 32 days. We start our coverage of the Carolina Panthers, but this segment is brought to you by Absolute Eyewear of Woodbridge, New Jersey, right on Main Street. Go check out Craig and Janine. There's big savings over there to be had because you're a Chop Sports member and a Chop Sports follower and a fan and a friend of the show and a current host of a podcast. Whatever you're doing with Chop Sports, head on over there, drop the word and phrase Chop Sports and or Jimmy Palumbo show. I will give him the rub. And you can get 100. That's right. 120 off of any lenses, frames, they do it all over there. They're a full service shop. Their eye exams. You can rock the Dickerson look if you're playing some sports in the fall, which I might have to do because I can't see nothing. I literally can't see half the people that are in this room right now. So I know I got to go check out Absolute Eyewear in Woodbridge, New Jersey. So now it is time to preview the Carolina Panthers. Now, I'll start and preface this by saying that I think, just me personally, that this is the surprise jump forward team of the NFL. I'll start off by saying that. Why? Because I think that Sam Darnold is going to have a rejuvenated career right here in Carolina because, his head coach is not a buffoon. It's Matt Rule, and I'm a big Matt Rule guy. I think this is one of the better coaches on the ups.
I think rejuvenated might be the wrong word because he's never had any type of career yet.
Juvenated.
He's going to be juvenated. It's interesting. I mean, I do like Matt Rule. I'm not sure about Darnold. I know that he was given a shitty break. Was AJ texting over there?
Yeah, instead of going the camera.
No, I'm keeping aware.
No, you're not.
But yeah, Darnold had Adam Gase, so he had really no chance to succeed in New York. I do like the receivers in Carolina: Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore. Get McCaffrey back, potential comeback player of the year. I know that you have something to say about that with the Dak situation, but
I think all these guys have potential to be a comeback player of the year.
Offense has potential to be legit. It's all about Sam Darnold for me.
And backing up Sam Darnold is former XFL star PJ Walker. That kid could throw it and he can run. I believe he played for the Renegades, if that's a team. Dallas.
I couldn't name one single team.
You can.
XFL. No, I couldn't.
The New York team. What's their name? Stop. Don't lie.
Guardians.
Here it is. See?
Is it really?
Yes. So there you go. You just named
guess.
one
That's
NHL
fucking
team.
crazy because that was a complete guess. I promise you.
All right. Well, you just got it. So anyway, Christian McCaffrey does come back. He was the number 1 overall pick yesterday in my draft. He's the number 1 overall pick in everybody's draft because they just think that the sky is the limit for this kid off injury. Now, again, he tried to make a comeback last year and it just wasn't happening. Right. But I think he is as advertised. I loved him in college, and I think he's got a future, man. He's got a really bright future and a really good coaching staff and a decent offensive line that run behind. And there's some leaders in that locker room. So I think that the Carolina offense could be something special. And when I say special, I'm not saying they're going to blow the doors off people or beat the brakes off people, right, AJ? They're not going to do any of that, but I think they have potential to have a couple of weeks where they light up the scoreboard a little bit. And that receiving core for Sam Darnold is pretty good. Besides DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, the other guys underneath them, you might not know them now, but there are a couple stars in the making. Terrence Marshall Jr. is very good. I think he's very good. Their tight end situation might be a little left, room for improvement as Dan Arnold, but their offensive line, I know of Cam Irving because he played for Dallas, so I know him.
I'm gonna pull up their depth chart now.
I'm looking right at their depth chart right here. But anyway, so they're all, like I said, their offense has the ability. Now it's about the defense over there in Carolina for them to be successful.
That's where it gets bad.
It gets finicky. It just gets, on the defensive line, they do run a base 4-3. So it's Brian Burns, Derek Brown. Derek Brown's one of their newest kids and newest additions to that defensive line. He's a big run stuffer up the middle. Daquan Jones and Morgan Fox. That's your defensive line. So, they're not the best, not the worst.
This is going to be the major Achilles heel for this team. They're not going to stop anybody. So you're right. Their offense is going to have to put up a ton of points to win some games.
I do. Shaq Thompson. Can't say enough about him. This defense hasn't been the same leadership wise since obviously Kuechly.
And J.C. Horn's the rookie, right?
Oh, shit. J.C. Horn is one of the guys. They took a gamble on him. He played yesterday, right? And there was rumors to say that he wasn't going to be ready for the regular season. That's why Dallas kind of shied away. He had micro back surgery like 2 months before the draft. So clearly that's something to monitor. He takes a bad hit. You never know. You know what I mean? But J.C. Horn was one of the higher touted corners in this draft. outside of Surtain and outside of the other one. Wow. All right.
Newsome?
No. The one that the two corners went before Dallas. That's why we couldn't get either one of them. Patrick Surtain Jr. and I don't know. Now I'm just like drawing a blank, but it doesn't matter. But
Sure, Scoop will fucking comment any second.
no, I'm sure he won't. But anyway, so there is a little bit of relief on the backside. I think Jeremy Chin is good. Burris okay.
I look at their defense and I know
It's going to be
I
tough
know a lot
sledding.
of names around the league.
I
and
know.
I'm struggling to recognize. A few of these
I
names.
know.
Their defense isn't good.
Right, as I pull up NBA free agency for no reason whatsoever. But yeah, so the Carolina Panthers, pull up their schedule. AJ will go over that real quick and see where we're at. The over-under is 7.5 right now. So it'll be interesting. But if I have to ride this team like I'm going to ride them as far as thinking that they're going to be good, then I think they're going to hit that over. So let's see. They open up with the Jets, which is obviously intriguing. Because it's Sam Darnold against the Jets. And, of course, the NFL schedule makers got this right as far as putting this game as their opening game. It's in Carolina, so I want to give Sam Darnold this revenge win. You know what I mean? And it's not a revenge against the team. It's just revenge against how he was mistreated.
I mean, you know he's going to come out to play in that game, and you said it's in Carolina?
Yeah.
The Jets are shit, too, so that should be they could at least start off good.
Yeah, they'll
Give them
start
one
off with a
the
win.
bat.
Then they stay home 2 weeks in a row, actually, to play New Orleans. Now, a lot of people are jumping all over this Jameis Winston thing. They really are getting excited about Jameis Winston and his ability to lead that team to not the promised land, but at least to a decent season. I don't foresee that happening.
Well, we got the Saints in 2 days, right?
We got the Saints in 2 days.
Tomorrow.
Yep.
We do the Saints tomorrow.
Yes,
No,
yes.
Saints were higher than Buccaneers in standings.
So we actually do the Saints in 2 days.
So we're doing the champs tomorrow?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, so the New Orleans Saints come to town. I think they actually rattle off that win and then rattle off another win at Houston. So the potential for the Carolina Panthers to start off 3-0 is a thing. That's a definite thing. But then they run into that roadblock called the Dallas Cowboys. And but even that's going to be difficult. Truth be told, Dallas struggles against everybody. But then Philadelphia, Minnesota, New York, Atlanta, the schedule is favorable for these Carolina Panthers. It is. I mean,
it's not bad. It's one of the easier ones that I've looked at
right.
in recent days.
I guess
As we've been doing this.
in the first 12 weeks, right? The guaranteed losses on this, I see maybe New England,
I still got
Arizona?
I still got them under 7.5.
Washington, maybe 3. So if they can get off to a hot start, which they can very well do that, they can win. I think they could push this over before their bye. Before their bye, I think the Carolina Panthers can shock enough people and get enough
I don't
wins.
think they're going to win 8 games all year. So you
That's
got to go.
that's
before the bye.
crazy.
I don't see
because I'm telling
I
you,
think that you might be overvaluing them. A little bit.
but on that schedule in the front 12, right? Give me their losses. Give me their guaranteed. There's no way they're going to compete with those team losses.
All right, better yet, give me their guaranteed win.
New York,
Jets,
the Jets,
Texans.
the Texans, the Eagles, the Giants, the Falcons.
You're saying guaranteed?
Miami.
I don't think any of those are guaranteed.
None of those are guaranteed.
I'm saying
I would say-
winnable,
winnable, losable, all losable.
All right, so at the very worst, I got him 6-6 at their break.
Okay, I mean,
6-6.
I won't. I'm not going to sit here and disagree per se because it's up in the air, but it's about how good Darnold comes out and plays. If he's the real deal, then yes,
It's
6
tough.
is doable.
It's tough sledding in the back end after their bye.
I haven't.
It's a
seen
lot of
much-
similar opponents.
Now we said this at the onset of breaking down the Panthers. I haven't seen much out of Darnold yet, so it's hard for me to
Correct.
say, you know what? Yeah, he's going to be the guy. There's potential for him to be the guy because you got to scrap what you saw with the Jets. But until I see it, I have a hard time anointing Carolina just yet.
Well, here's where I get the over right here. Okay, it just say they go at worst 6-6 before the break. They beat Atlanta, get you the 7, and then maybe they beat New Orleans in New Orleans, right? And there's your 8. And then you struggle against Buffalo, and then you probably lose twice to Brady. So I see this team finishing under 500, 8-9, but taking their over on the over unders. 7.5 is the number. So I see 8 wins out of this Carolina team. And for that, for a team that was as bad as they were last year, minus McCaffrey, this I think makes the leap. I'm even hard pressed. I'll redo everything when we do the whole schedule all over again. I might even see 9 wins in this schedule because 6-6. Remember, I had them at like 8-2.
So 9 wins is a fringe playoff team in the NFC.
I think, right? I think that's a thing.
Maybe not though. I don't know. The NFC is kind of top heavy. We'll see.
But that is your Carolina Panthers, and I think that with the coaching, with McCaffrey back, with Darnold having an actual head coach, with that receiving core, the offense is going to put up points. The defense is suspect. We've talked about it, and I think that it's gonna be it's interesting. Carolina is one of those teams that they can go either way, and I think that if they get off to the hot start, they could be a fringe playoff team. If for whatever reason they trip up, that back end of the schedule is awful for them, especially not having to face Tampa until December twice.
I'll go 7-10 for Carolina.
I'm going to go 8-9 to start. Again, we'll do more.
AJ, what do you got?
AJ, what do you got, bro?
8 and 9 is very fair. I wanted to say 9, but when I'm looking at that schedule, that last 4 weeks is so tough, and I think a lot of the beginning games are more losable than people would think. So,
Okay.
8 and 9.
All right. So, once again, Gucci is the bearer of bad news with the worst record. You're very hard on all these teams. But yeah, so we do now know that tomorrow we will do the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as our 32 teams and 32-day coverage continues.
Tampa Bay's schedule is going to look similar to that.
Yes, very similar
They're
to
probably
that.
not going to fucking lose all year.
We'll see. They're losing week 1, but I digress with that one. I can beat that one over the. What did I say? Beat a dead horse. What did I say?
Bang a dead horse.
Bang a dead horse. Yeah, I got fetishes over here. But yeah, so anyway, if you're tuning into this podcast, be sure to tune into all the podcasts. Chopheads MMA breaks down the Woodley and Jake Paul fight a little bit more than we did. And then obviously you have the Squeaky Bum Time guys. They're back 2 times this week. The goddamn Jets will be back. Maybe John Sapanaro might have a week off. It might just be Kim and Max. We're going to talk about that later. Of course, more episodes of Chart Choppers. I'm your football team, Joe Matarese. And of course, we don't want to say anything until it's in the can, but I think Jimmy Palumbo has himself another solid week after having a great week last week with the addition of Artie Lang as a guest on this network. So for that, for Sturch, Gooch on the couch, and of course, all the production work that AJ just put in for us, we want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Chop Sports Podcast, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
We need to get that overhead light.
Yeah, let's just order it now.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. We're going to work on all this lighting stuff. I think I do I like this shot. We just got to light it better. That's all. Yeah. So appreciate y'all for listening and watching. And we're going to head on out of here and get to work. Later, everybody.